Tiptoeing in my Jordans. I came down, tiptoeing in my Jordans.
What's up, people? Welcome to the very first podcast. Yes, this is Kicks University, and class is in session, and you already know who it is. Your boy, Trouble T. Roy. You know, we just want to shout out our sponsors for our podcast, which is absolutely no one. So with that being said, if you would like to become a sponsor, you can definitely hit us up at getkickswholesale at gmail.com. That's GETKICKZ WHOLESALE at gmail.com. That is our general email if you just want to contact us with questions, feedback, information, etc. You guys already know from the YouTube video, that is the contact information, or email rather, that you want to hit up. I get back to people accordingly. Things have been getting pretty busy with the email. I've been getting a lot of support and questions and things like that. So if I didn't get back to you, if I don't get back to you right away, please be patient with me, because I definitely will get back to you. And pardon if you hear paper moving around in the background. That is because I actually have some notes here. How amazing is that? I'm actually prepared, and I better be, because this is a podcast, right? So it's called Kicks University. I figured that was a good name because we do sneaker education here. We let you know how to work with the Wholesale Connects. We let you know, what's really going on with the sneaker game, the pure, unadulterated truth about the kick game. And hey, I'm not afraid to share this information with you guys, because I feel like it's stuff that needs to be known, man. Anytime, society kind of brainwashes you into believing certain things and shielding the truth from you, hey, I'm going to be that guy that brings you what's really going on. Thus, the title of today's podcast is, Are You Brainwashed? That's the question. Are you brainwashed? But before we get into that, let me throw out the social media information, because we are on social media. You can follow us at Instagram and Twitter, where the handle is exactly the same for both, which is GetKicksWS1. It's at the @ symbol, GETKICKZ WS and the number 1. Also like our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/GetKicksWS1, GETKICKZ WS1. Also too, if you have a business and you want to have it mentioned on the podcast, for $20, we'll give you a slot for 4 weeks. So send us an email for further information. If you have a clothing line or, any other type of product that you have and you want reviews done, for your line or whatever the case may be, whether it be caps, t-shirts, sweats, you can also email us too, man. We'll do a review for you, and we won't charge for that because you're probably sending free gear or something like that for us to do a review. Yeah, get at the email, and let us know if that's something that you're interested in. So now that the politics are out the way, hopefully everyone out there is doing great in sneaker land. Hopefully all is well. But I'm going to jump right back into the topic I just mentioned, called Are You Brainwashed? And this is something that we should ask ourselves, with not just with sneakers, but with so many different things, products, and how certain companies are run, and things that we pay for, as consumers. It's kind of something that we probably should inquire about on every aspect, but I'm going to cover the sneaker aspect of it because that's what I do. So, if you're a sneaker seller, quick question. If you're a sneaker seller, how many of you have come across buyers who may be receipt heads, right? So let's explain what a receipt head is. Say you got the fresh new J's, right? They don't release until next weekend, but you just happen to have them a week early. Or not even that. Say you just have something that just released maybe today, and you have it in hand, and you post it up on something like eBay, OfferUp, or Kixify, Craigslist, whatever the case may be, however you do it. And your first response to, you let people know in your description that everything is authentic, but the first response that you get from someone is, do you have a receipt? And I know most of you resellers out there, that follow the channel and things like that, are probably going to be like, man, I've dealt with that to a degree, or I deal with it a lot. I've dealt with it a lot, and pretty much receipt heads are like the ones that don't believe you have something legit because you didn't get it from a retailer, thus them providing or producing you with the receipt. So that's what a receipt head is. Buyers who feel that since you didn't get them from a retail location such as like Foot Locker, Champs, Kicks USA, Models, whatever the case may be, Sneaker Villa for those of you here in Philly, that they aren't real. They question the authenticity of your product based off of you not having a receipt. Also, you can get buyers who pick apart every flaw in the shoe that you're selling, and only because you didn't get them from a retail location. So even though the brands have been doing some terrible jobs on quality with certain shoes, and as of lately, the same flaws that are on wholesale pairs are on resale pairs, or retail rather, pairs. And that's so funny because since the quality is shabby on retail pairs, you figure you wouldn't have as much of an issue, when you're selling wholesale. But again, when you don't have a receipt and people know you didn't get them from a retail location, they're going to pick apart a shoe to the finest degree that they possibly can. And do I hate that? Absolutely. Just like I'm sure you do. But again, what I do in return is I let the product speak for itself. The way I try to alleviate these things is let them see what I have. But it can be difficult. It can be difficult when dealing with buyers, that think this way, because they really feel like, if it didn't come from a retail location, then this can't be legit. It's super impossible for you to have something exclusive or something brand new that I had to stand in line or I didn't win in a raffle for so I can buy these shoes, and I just can't buy them. Going to the retail location and just buy them flat out because they're sitting on the shelf. You can't do that. So, it's impossible for you to have a legit pair or pairs, so. But the point is, if you're dealing with issues such as these, then it means that you're probably, your buyer's probably been brainwashed. And it's just, that's just the real deal about it. And, brainwash simply means that people have been conditioned to believe something that is not true because they've been conditioned for so long to believe otherwise. So this normally comes through means of like media, the internet, social media, any major information outlet that information is provided to people. So like television commercials and things like that. They'll promote like counterfeit awareness for certain brands. Don't purchase shoes unless it's from an authorized seller or dealer, if you get what I'm saying. So they'll put that in the public's mind because they say if you do otherwise, then guess what? It's fake. That's what they do, Oh, you didn't get them from Foot Locker? Guess what? They're probably fake. You didn't get them from Finish Line? Guess what? They're probably fake. So that's how they do. That's kind of their goal, to try to keep the sales transitioned directly to them instead of you dealing with wholesalers directly. So, and again, people are brainwashed by the truth not being exposed. Because if you really find out the truth with this whole brainwashing scenario in this sneaker game that we're in, where we're all trying to make money and trying to make things lucrative for all of us, and even some of us are even trying to resource and link up with other people to say, hey, how can we do this and win together? The truth is, though, with these people, what they don't understand is that every single shoe that is bought, and I pick on Jordan Brand a lot, so let's pick on Jordan Brand. Every Jordan shoe that's bought is normally made in China. Now, most of you listening already know these things. For those of you that's new, I'm going to break it down here on the podcast for you to hopefully give you a better understanding, to give you more confidence in your wholesale buying and selling, to make you more aware and educated, so that way you can make money. So whenever people come up to you with rebuttals and things like that, you're prepared. You're prepared to know what you sell, and that because they tell you no, that it won't discourage you about the product that you have. So back to picking on Jordan Brand. So every single shoe, not every single, but majority of the shoes are made in China. And For those of you that don't believe me, look at the tag inside your shoe. Look at it. Take time. You got a pair of J's, run upstairs or in your living room, in your room, wherever you got them. Go run in there, look at the tag for me, and if you can, shoot me an email on where, or just put it on my Instagram page or Twitter page, and tell me where your Jordan shoe is made, especially if you have retail pair. Please look at the tongue or the tag on the inside, if it's on the side or whatever the case may be. Where does it say when it says made in? I guarantee you about 90% of the time it's going to say made in China. So on some occasions now, it may say made in Indonesia or Taiwan, but the point that I'm trying to make is that none of the shoes are made over here in the United States whatsoever. So get that out your mind. So for those of you that don't understand, that are new, that haven't been subbed to the channel, that are just listening, no Jordan brand or Nike shoe is made over here in the United States. As a matter of fact, Adidas isn't. I think New Balance was the last company that was, but they've outsourced, so no shoe company, unless it's like a small mom and pop shoe company, none of them use the United States. None of the labor is done in the United States in the making of shoes. Look at Timberland. Timberland, such an American boot, that's used to be, I believe, an American company, but guess where their shoes are produced now? In China. And like I say, occasionally you'll catch some joints that's made in Indonesia or Taiwan. But again, no shoes are made here in the United States, folks. Yep, you heard it. Well, I can't say you heard it first, but fresh off the press, from Troy, here at Kicks University, no shoes made in the United States. So the key to that, number one, is that get that out of your mind. It doesn't happen. So some people believe that. Thus the reason when you tell them, or if you tell them that you get your shoes direct from manufacturer overseas, on why they struggle and have such a problem with that. So now, another quick fact is Nike and Jordan brand has a corporate office, and it's in Beaverton, Oregon. Again, this is public information. You can do your own research. It's in Beaverton, Oregon, and a warehouse for receiving located in Memphis, Tennessee, right? And also, too, something funny as I'm doing the research, their warehouse is actually hiring in Memphis, Tennessee. That's the funny part. It's a receiving warehouse. And pretty much all you do is pack boxes and send them out. That's what you're doing. Why would whomever is working in the warehouse doing that, and why would I mention that? Is because once the shoes, this is how the process works. Once the shoes are made overseas, right? They then go through quality and control, but not here in the United States. It's overseas. They go through quality and control. Thus, the explanation for people asking to see like that golden sticker, it says QC and then it has like a number. It's a golden sticker with red writing, or you may have like one of those stamps in your boxes. That's quality and control stamps and stickers. So a lot of people ask to see that, when trying to authenticate shoes, to see if it went through quality and control. And also, too, that doesn't confirm or verify if it's authentic, because you can get a B grade shoe that's authentic. Think about it, and it's still authentic. It just has a couple flaws. But guess where they sell those at? In your outlets, in your major sneaker outlets, if they're B grades, if they don't pass quality and control based off of how they research. And then also, too, quality and control ain't as sharp of a process as people think it is. If excuse me, if it was, why do shoes still get through to retailers with flaws? So that just shows me that quality and control isn't as a meticulous process as people say it is, or how much credit they give it. Because B grades wouldn't make it through, because sometimes you get B grades in retail locations. And that's real. That's real. I've seen plenty of people return shoes because they had so many flaws to a regular retail location. Pretty much B grades. So, again, the process happens. The shoes are produced and made overseas. Nike contracts with these companies overseas, almost kind of like, to keep it real, it's like sweatshops, man. That's what it is. And they contract with these companies overseas. They give them this information. They have a blueprint and materials that needs to be used. They produce these shoes. Once they make these shoes, they then do quality and control on them. Once quality and control is done, guess what happens? They are then shipped to the United States from overseas. Now, here's the process that happens once they're over here in the United States. Now, you heard me mention that there is a Nike and Jordan brand warehouse. Only one. Has to be huge, so it's only one. Again, this is public information. Do your research. A receiving warehouse in Memphis, Tennessee, where they get these shoes, right? They then open these packages, get these shoes, and start repackaging them to send them to the retail location. That's it. It may be minor quality and control done at the warehouses. Minor. They check the shoes out, make sure price both there. It's a left and a right shoe opposed to two right feet, but not very meticulous overlooking of these shoes, because again, they wouldn't hit retail locations if if the quality and control was done better over here. A lot of shoes wouldn't hit retail locations because of the flaws, to be completely honest. And also too, Nike and Jordan brand don't want people doing that because our wages are expensive, so they don't want to pay workers over here in the United States to do a job that's being done super cheap overseas. It doesn't make sense. It's not a good business model. It's not. So, with that being said, now that you know how this process goes, I'll jump on to the next thing. Now, for some people, they tend to think with the shoes coming from retailers that it adds something special because it comes from the retailers. You get what I'm saying? Like, it authenticates everything, but it really doesn't. It doesn't. It's the same process as buying from a wholesaler, except the shoes, instead of the shoes going to a retailer, they're just coming to you directly. That's it. So they think that it's authenticated because it's going from China to your major retail stores, which doesn't make sense. Which brings me to a whole nother different topic, that ties into this, which is authenticators, quote unquote. And that'll probably be the topic of the next podcast. But the question is, where do authenticators get their credentials from? What makes them specialists in the sneaker game? I would like to know. Does Nike, Jordan, Adidas, ASIC, Etonic, whomever, New Balance, do they be like, oh, we're gonna crown this guy a sneaker authenticator. He's gonna let people know whether our shoe is real versus fake. That's it. But that's funny, and I'll jump into more of that later. And like I say, that's probably for the next podcast. But so back on track. So there's nothing special done over here in the U.S. at all, but it's pressed into the minds of people that when you buy from authorized Nike or Jordan brand dealers, that it's something special that you're getting. Like it's another level of authentication. Even when now look at this, even when you go to Nike Chat or anything you see online, it just specifically tells you to buy from authorized dealers. It doesn't say this is how you tell real versus fake. This is how you authenticate a shoe. It just says go to Nike dealers. I've emailed Nike Counterfeit. I've talked to representatives in Nike Chat, and I've asked them, I said, hey, what's the difference between real versus fake shoes? First thing Nike Counterfeit said was buy from Jordan Nike authorized brand dealers. They didn't give me no insight. They didn't give me no PDF. They didn't give me a link to say, hey, here are some differences that you may be able to tell, real or fake shoes. Now, again, I've been in the game for years, so I can tell. I don't have any issues with telling. Like, you can hand me a shoe and I can tell you if it's a replica, B grade, authentic. It's not very difficult because, again, I've been doing it for so many years. And I've seen all of them. I've seen replicas. I've seen good replicas. I've seen horrible ones. I've seen horrible authentics. I've seen nearly perfect shoes. So I've been around. I've ordered both or all and received all. So these are things, retail, I still buy retail pair, if I can get my hands on them, because again, I got to stay up to date and educated. If I'm bringing this information to you, how valid would it be if I'm not practicing what I preach? So, so even when you talk to representatives at Nike, they'll tell you just buy from a Nike or Jordan brand authorized dealer. And probably any of the brands are going to tell you that. But again, only if you knew, a lot of people with stores and websites, they aren't authorized with Nike and Jordan brand. And I bring that up for the simple fact that people go to trusted websites, quote unquote trusted websites, that are outside of the major retailers, and they cop shoes because they feel like it's more of a secure and it's more authentic. And again, I don't knock anybody making any money any kind of way. If you're selling authentics and you get them wholesale, it don't bother me because I do it. Why would that bother me? I do the same thing. However, my point in mentioning this is some people that build a rapport and that have trust, they're not authorized Nike and Jordan brand dealers. And they're running around talking about how they authenticate shoes. And again, no brand is giving anyone any type of credentials or assignment to authenticate. So again, it's an opinionated market, people. It's opinionated. So when someone tells you your shoe is real versus fake, not saying that they can be wrong or right, and some people may have been in the game for years. But again, it's not because any brand assigned these credentials to anybody. Like they just came out the air. Like it's SneakerCon. They have authentication booths and people that authenticate. Where'd they get their credentials from? Where'd they get them? Exactly. Nobody ain't go to authenticity school. That's not where they went. It doesn't exist. So you got to be careful because again, it's so many opinions out there, and you got some people that drop some crazy facts, some crazy facts. But I was always told to eat the meat and spit out the bone, because some people will mix fact with opinion and what they feel versus the total truth. So with that being said, authenticators, and like I said, we'll dig deeper into that one at a later podcast as well. So now, as a seller, since we're talking about are you brainwashed, and you have buyers, and sometimes you feel like it may be hard to sell because it may be kind of hard to get around that buyer's mentality because he already or she's already believing that, and that's embedded in her head. So you may ask, as a seller, how do you get around these folks that are brainwashed and that's giving you a hard time? And, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I think that the primary thing there is that you want to let them see your product in person. And then the second thing is patience. For most of the sales that I've completed with people, that are like that, and, I show them what I have. And at some point, what they do is they call out flaws that they try to take away from the authenticity. And a lot of them initially say no the first go around. I don't know if you've ever dealt with that, but when you be like, when somebody feels like they're unsure, they'll initially tell you no the first go around, right? And here's why. Number one, they may have been sold some replicas before and they've gotten burned. So you can't really blame them too much with that. They've gotten burned, or they have a hard time telling authenticity because they don't really know nothing about the shoes. They're just following hype. And as far as for patience, like, don't worry if a buyer says no the first time, especially if you have a shoe that that they're not going to be able to get their hands on ever again, or it's a very slim chance. They'll realize at some point that they'll never be able to get the shoe that you're selling on their own. So what happens is, or the pricing is way above what they want to pay for it. You dig what I'm saying? So with the pricing being way above what they want to pay for it and knowing that they can't get it, so what you do is you just wait. And at some point, they're going to come back to you, of course. So be patient, because you have what they want and they can't get it without paying over, with it being well overpriced, and it's not something that they can get hands on. So you just be patient and chill. If you don't already have another buyer set up, just chill, sit on the shoe. The person that you dealt with is going to come back. Trust me. I even have a story about this. The Jordan 12 wings. Had a pair. I think I had a pair left. I think I had 3 pair. I don't know if you guys saw the video. I believe I had 3 pair. No, 4. I sold 2. One was for a homie of mine, and I had a pair that they sent me the wrong numbers, which I had to send back. So one was already sold, one was for a homie. You had the one with the numbers that were wrong, and then one pair I had that were, they were fine. They didn't have any flaws or whatever, and everything was right with them. Posted it on Craigslist. Met up with the guy, in a public place. It was like a mall out here in Philly. It's called the Roosevelt Mall, up by the Macy's, is where I met this guy. And so he saw the shoes. I'm like, hey, take a look at them before you, I want you to check them out or whatever. So we met up. He checked the shoes out, and I could see instantly that he was looking to say something was wrong with them. So of course I'm comfortable, and I'm just waiting. As I'm reading this guy, I'm waiting, and he's looking. He looks at the numbers and things and everything, and the carbon fiber on the bottom of the 12s, and the coloration of the shoe, and the pattern of the wing feathers on the inside to make sure they were going a specific direction, which they were. The size sticker on the insoles, which there were. So he looks at the gold, the plastic, like the lace loops, the plastic lace loops at the top of the 12. It's 2 on each side, equaling 4 on each shoe. And the gold paint was chipped just like a teeny bit. Like it wasn't wearing off. It was chipped a teeny bit. And he was like, oh man. He's like, on the fakes, the gold here is not chipped. So I'm looking at him, and I said, okay. I said, if you're not interested, I understand. I said, but if you don't feel like they're authentic, just give them to me. So because I have other people lined up that are interested, and I'm not really, we're kind of wasting time. So if you don't want them, cool, no problem. He couldn't find nothing else wrong with the shoe outside of that little piece of gold, like really, really small. Like if you didn't look up on it, you wouldn't even be able to tell. And again, the retail pair probably the same thing, because maybe it rubbed on something on the box, or the shoes rubbed each other for it to come off. And the paint job was great. So I don't know what this guy was thinking. So I said, no problem. And I wasn't upset, because I've been through this before, and how people try to nitpick every single thing when you have something they can't get. Because again, like I say, to a degree, you can't blame them, because they probably gotten taken advantage of. And again, they're brainwashed. That's the reason they think the way they think. So with that, we parted ways, whatever. I ended up selling them to someone else. Someone else bought them with no issues. They were like, bet, bought them, done. So this dude was, the next week after I sold them, he's texting me, blowing my phone up. Still got the wings, I'll give you this for him. And I was like, well, you weren't secure when I had them. He's like, dude, if you still got them, we can link up. I'll give you this for him. So first he tried to lowball me. And be careful with this too, because this is what buyers will do. Those that know your stuff is authentic, they'll try to lowball you to make you think your stuff isn't, and kind of set a perception that, all right, I'll buy it for the low since it's not real or not right. And the whole point of the matter is, think about this principle. If it wasn't real or wasn't right, why would you even try to pay money for it? So they're trying to lowball you, probably in the sense for them to resell, for them to make more money. So please don't fall for that trap. That's a straight scheme. Don't let them get over, because if they're willing to pay for it, they know the value and that what you have is real, because they're not going to just pay the low for something you got just so they can rock it. Evidently, it's something wrong with replicas to them, if it's a replica. So why would they pay money for it? Think about it. Think about it. It's a shame, man. Like they be trying to catch you. Like some people out here be trying to catch you lunching. Others be genuine in what they do, but some people be trying to catch you out here and trying to take advantage. So you really got to be careful with that. I figured I would definitely point that trap out, because I've got caught in that trap before. And this is years ago, again, when I wasn't comfortable and confident in my product and know what I had. So, that's just me. And if you guys have had any of these experiences, definitely don't hesitate to share, man. Hit me up at the email. Let me know. And I'll definitely shout out your stories, man, here on the podcast, and kind of go over some things, because people need to hear this, because you got some cats that are new in the game that don't know how to maneuver, and they're looking for guidance, and some things you guys may know that I may not know. I don't know everything. That's the reason I pull on y'all and tell you to give me ideas, don't know everything. Some of us have been in the game for a nice amount of time that kind of have, a background and an understanding of how people try to do through experiences. We've taken L's, we've taken W's, now we're all trying to get bigger W's. That's the reason for this podcast, to kind of expand and go into to even better things, So yeah, if you have stories like that, or you have pointers and tips that you can share, with our community, definitely don't hesitate to let me know. I will shout you out, unless you don't want to be, but share, because again, we're trying to come up in this together. So for those people, the reason why you have a hard time selling sometimes is because people are really brainwashed and they don't understand. Like, it's hard for them to even fathom how you get what you get and you're not a retailer. It makes it difficult. And they be like, no, it makes them leery too. Like, no, I'm good. And a lot of them are just speaking from their experiences, which is sad. And it's a shame you got people out here that's just heavy on taking advantage of people, man. And I'm trying to get a consistent payday. You take advantage of somebody, you got to run with their money. You can't fool with that person no more. My thing is, look, I get you the right thing. You see it's legit. You going to keep coming back. I want you to keep coming back. To me, $300, $400, $500, $1,000 ain't enough for me to run off with and scam nobody for. If I'm going to scam somebody, I'm going to get them for some big money where I ain't got to see them again and worry about money again. I'm talking about millions. So it don't even make sense to scam people, because you're limiting your cash flow. You're putting a blockage on the money that you really can make. So again, with that being said, I hope this was an interesting topic. The podcast will get better as we go along. It's going to be more streamlined. It's going to become more professional. I want you to invite your peoples that are interested, or your business partners that's interested in doing this wholesale sneaker thing. Tell them, come get some wisdom, come get some education here at Kicks University, where class is in session. And just really briefly on to the next segment. I like to call this Fresh for Less, where we give you some places or pointers on how to get fresh for less. So today I'm going to give a shout out to the store Ross. Here is a sneaker secret. You can find some sneaker heat at Ross, their shoe department for cheap. I don't know if you guys ever have, if you have Rosses in your areas, but yeah, you can come up on some heat on the low. Now, the only thing is they may not have a box, but they'll be authentic shoes. And you'll find them $30, $40, $50. So recently I just copped some Nike Turfs, them Deion Sanders joints. I think the gray, I don't know if I posted on my Instagram a while ago, but they're like the silver, kind of like the Miami Dolphins orange and teal, and I got them for $50, brand new, and that was at Ross in their shoe department. Even if you don't find anything for yourself, like you'll find heat for the kids. I found like these polo shoes for my son, and they were like $20. The leather, like the leather joints, like they were dope, man. So if you got a Ross in your area or in your neighborhood near you, check them out. You can get some stuff on the low. You can probably even resell some of the sneakers. You know what I mean? And because they're authentic, and you get them for the low. So, telling you, Ross in your locale, they normally have some pretty decent stuff. So don't hesitate, man. Just, if something you just looking to wear for the weekend, you just want to spend a couple bucks, get something fresh, there you go. Some fresh sneakers or whatever some case maybe. You might find some fly knits on the low. So, and it's not like it, and they don't price them that way necessarily because they're flawed. I figure I'll put that out there too. So check them out, man. Again, the store is Ross. Look in your neighborhood for Ross. Go to that sneaker department, check out, see what they got. You find some steals, send me some pictures so I can go ahead and I'll post them up on my page, on the gram, on the book, to show people that it's real. Like I said, I like giving out real information and stuff that might help. And that's one of the ways you can get fresh for less. You dig? So now, this week in sneakers, we got some release dates for you. October 22nd, which was the Saturday that just passed, the Jordan 6 Pinnacle. The metallic gold drop, the retail was $250. Them joints are mean. They come with the white box, I think dust bags, a card. Now, for those of you that have the wholesaler, that that we linked up and you got the wholesale information, not all wholesalers have this shoe, but it's definitely a hot shoe and people are going to want it. So if you can get this shoe, get it. It's going to be a good resale item. Not all the wholesalers have them. I believe Maryland has the correct packaging now. She had them, but she didn't have them with the right packaging. I think now she has them with the right packaging. So if you have her information, hit her up, get at her. It's definitely going to be a hot sale. October 25th, the Adidas NMD XR1 Camel Pack, which the retail is $150. I checked them out. I kind of like the duck camo joints. They have another one that's like a black camo, but the duck camo joints, I'm possibly looking at grabbing a pair. I'll probably grab them retail because you don't get a really good deal on them wholesale. And by the time you pay the shipping, it's going to come up to retail. But the duck camo joints, those joints are fire. October 26th, the Ewing 33 High Halloween colorway, retail $120. Also on the 26th, the Ewing 33 High Olive, retail $125. Coming up October 29th, the Air Jordan 4 Premium Ginger colorway, they retail for $400. To me personally, none of these premiums are worth $400. That's me, I still don't think they're well put together where they're worth a $400 price tag. And again, I fool with the wholesalers, so this is not a purchase that I'll be doing retail at all. I don't care if they make these joints with with elephant tusk shavings, man. These joints are just not worth the $4 to me. But that's me. Again, that's opinionated. Also on October 29th, the Air Jordan 3 Grade School colorway Dark Purple Dust. They coming out, they retail for $140. Keep an eye out on the wholesalers for them because they get the GS joints that come out. So again, you may pay under that for them if you get them from the wholesaler. Also on October 29th, the Nike Kobe 11 Elite 1KB Pale Horse colorway, retail is $200, and they'll be dropping on October the 29th. And those are pretty dope. I think I like these Kobe 11s. Haven't copped a pair yet. I want to cop a pair of replica and then a pair of authentic to compare the two, because I'm starting to feel like with Nike, with these basketball shoes like the KDs, the Kyries, the Kobe's, like I don't think there's a vast difference in the what they call the authentic versus the retail. For those of you that know off the top and that's done this already, hit me up, let me know. But I'm a cop a pair each, just so I can do a side by side, and I'll probably do a video on it, side by side review, because I feel like that again, there's no vast differences in these joints, and if that's the case, then game over. So, hey. So with that being said, folks, thank you for tuning in to the very first podcast. And as usual, I appreciate all of you. Any ideas, questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Again, the email is getkickswholesale@gmail.com. GETKICKZ WHOLESALE@gmail.com. And again, if you have a business and you want me to shout it out, it's only $20 for a slot for 4 weeks. So pretty much every podcast for 4 weeks, I'll shout out your business a few times through the podcast, give you some love to kind of promote you and try to get some traffic your way. And also, if you want us to review a line of something from your business, email us. Hey, and also we're taking sponsors, man. If you want to be a sponsor, hit that email up as well. We're trying to grow, trying to do some big things. We're going to have, at some point we're going to start getting guests, and, it's going to become really dope and really professional. Not that it's not already professional, but we're just looking to take things to the next level. Again, much love for you guys. You know who it is, your boy, Trouble T. Roy. Peace.
Tiptoeing in my Jordan, how I came down, tiptoeing.